Hello and welcome to Time to Talk. I'm pretty sure that's what I called it, or yeah, Time to Talk or whatever. Keeps freezing. Okay, there we go. Again, sorry for the really bad video quality. I just kind of have no choice but to do it on my laptop, and my laptop's pretty old, so the quality is therefore going to be pretty bad. I'm just gonna put up a trigger warning, just like let you know in advance. Trigger warning if you are triggered by anything that is depressive, sexually explicit, in terms of, I guess, abuse and harassment. If you're triggered by like all that stuff, don't watch this video. Just don't. Just don't. And there are points where I feel like this might not be appropriate for those who are underage. However, I cannot stop you from watching the video. Like, I can't stop you, but I can warn you at least. I'll try not to make it as horrific and horrible, but in order to ring true to these situations, there will be points where I say things that might be triggering and explain things that are not necessarily appropriate for a younger audience. So just bear that in mind. The reason I make these videos is because they are now currently my therapy session, and I'm just gonna talk about a few things, because there's a few things that I've had to deal with throughout my life, and there are things that I have to deal with right now. And with everything that I've had to deal with and go through for a very long time, I genuinely just thought I was cursed, that everything hated me, and the fact that I was born. Just putting that out there. Just because it's like, well, why is all this stuff happening? But you know what? There doesn't have to necessarily be a reason. Life is just unfair and a piece of BS, to be perfectly honest. And shit happens, and bad things happen to good people, and good things happen to bad people, and that's just the way it works. It doesn't necessarily mean that the world is absolutely terrible, but it's pretty in the range of an it hole, essentially. I'm trying to keep this as clean as possible, if you couldn't already tell. Like, I'm trying my hardest, but there are going to be points where I just can't keep it clean. Yeah. So, then begs the question, well, what could possibly be that bad that, or like you think that? And there are various reasons that I'm sure if my family watched this would be like, why are you saying this online? But it's the honest truth, and what do you want me to do but just be transparent and truthful? And if you want me to hide what happened to me, it just kind of shows the motive, or I guess who you really are as a person. I'm not gonna lie, it really honestly shows me who you are. I will say that. And you can say, well, I don't want you to put down this person. I'm not putting down this person. I'm just trying to shed light on things that happened to me. It wasn't right, and nobody else should have to go through these things either. Will I talk about that stuff? I don't know. I'm debating it, honestly. It's pretty bad. Like, I'm debating it. So, I'm like deciding if I want to talk about past stuff or if I want to talk about current stuff right now. I don't know. talk about some stuff that I've had to deal with. Stuff online doesn't really bother me anymore because I've had to deal with so much shit before even coming online in terms of like YouTube and stuff. If you send hate comments or leave hateful comments, which I haven't got, thankfully, they're gonna be trolls, it's gonna happen. But I've already experienced that, so I'm kind of used to it at this point. Doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt. Doesn't mean that genuine comments and feelings aren't going to hurt, because I listen to and appreciate genuine comments a bit more. And if somebody is saying, hey, you know, you're kind of not being okay at the moment, I'm gonna genuinely be down about that. So I'm like, oh, I've let them down, I've let myself down, I need to change that. So yeah, I'm gonna feel bad about that, but I'm not gonna feel bad about you suck, go die, you whatever they say, because that's pretty much the thing that you get with trolls. It happens. So I am used to that. There were points where for a little tiny bit I was receiving death threats. I was being threatened that they would, I guess, expose me and go to the police or whatever. And I was like, okay, I don't understand what I did, but okay. So I received like a lot of death threats, just for being me. Surprise, surprise. When you're different, people tend to target you a bit more, and I'm sure anybody else who is different understands that if you're different in any way, shape, or form whatsoever, you're going to get targeted. I got targeted because I had red hair. I got targeted because I was taller and weighed more, and therefore was viewed as obese, and therefore everyone called me fat. And it wasn't just kids at school, I will say that. So there was that, and it made me feel extremely insecure about my body, and I was already feeling extremely insecure about my body. I just didn't know what it was, but now I do know what it is. It's called dysphoria. Yay! That lovely thing. That kind of makes you despise yourself when you look in the mirror and nitpick every single tiny detail that is wrong, and use it as wrong. Yeah, getting better on that front, with HRT and everything, so that is a plus. I'm slowly overcoming it, but it doesn't mean that I don't still have a lot of body issues, because it is something that has been thrown at me since I was quite young, and just kind of constantly as well, and even up till now still kind of been thrown at me. So yeah, I have received a few death threats online here and there, and it was always behind masks. It was behind the cover of anonymous people. So, like, if you can't say it to my face and you can't say it as who you are as a person, I don't know what to tell you, but you're a coward. If you cannot say it to my face, then what does it say about you? You know? So there are some things that I've had to deal with. I've had various amounts of food thrown at me, and while the food's been thrown at me, being called the FAGGOT, or DYKE, many amounts of times have I been called that. Definitely picked on for having red hair, especially all through high school and everything like that. that was kind of a common theme, and in the end of it, I got like so sick of people just commenting on my hair. I just dyed it black because I was like, you know what, I'm going to be an emo boy, a very emo boy, and that's it. Like, deal with it. I'm being emo because, and the most horrible thing is, once I dyed my hair black, all of a sudden that stopped and people treated me with respect and were nicer to me. How sad is that? That once you try and actually fit in, people start to respect you and be nice to you. Social construct, everyone. Give it a round of applause. Oh boy. But that's the thing. That's what people do. They'll isolate you and punish you for being different, and then reward you for being the same and doing things that they want you to do. So for a very long time, I just essentially had to pretend to be somebody else to please other people because I was just so over being picked on and isolated. But that kind of just makes you feel really crap about yourself, and you can't really win either way. You can't win and please everyone. So it was just kind of an effort moment, and I was like, I'm gonna be myself, and if you don't like me, then you weren't supposed to be around to begin with. Just simple fact. If you don't like me for me, and if no one likes me for me, then that's it. I just gotta be happy with myself. I don't really care if I'm a loner, like, it'll suck. But I would rather be alone and happy in myself than be surrounded by people and be miserable, to be perfectly honest. And I'm an introvert, so I have my videos and my video games, I have my music that I can do stuff with. I don't necessarily have to be in person. I'm just lucky enough to have people that actually do like me for me and who couldn't really care less. So that's nice. So just kind of, those are just kind of the minor things that happened to me. So that kind of also sparks the whole self hatred and loathing that you eventually just kind of have to learn to overcome. And it's a really weird process, learning how to overcome your self-loathing and self-hatred, and learning to kind of overcome those negative thoughts about yourself, and learning to overcome the whole body image issues. It's challenging. And I definitely wouldn't say I'm there yet, and there's a possibility that I may never be there yet, because the thing is, with things like that, they tend to crop up every now and again, and even when you think that you're fine and everything seems a lot better, it can sneak up behind you at any given moment and just kind of poke you or jab you or stab you, to varying degrees of severity that it can happen. So it kind of always comes back. It's just kind of learning how to cope when it does come back, and what things to kind of push it away again, and kind of tell it, no, you're wrong. Which is difficult. You like fighting yourself in your own head. It's a battle. Like, when people say it's a battle, it's tough. It's a battle. So I really do feel for people who are trying to overcome things, because it's not easy. But I will say the first step in getting better is admitting it to yourself, admitting it to others, and then kind of baby stepping towards an end goal. Don't necessarily have to set an end goal in mind. It can just be I just kind of don't want to view myself that way. What do I do in order to do that? And then just kind of slowly, progressively learn through that. Um, the way, I guess the way that I deal with things is by trial and error through my own self. I do things on my own, by myself, and kind of do it that way. The reason that I do things by myself and on my own is because whenever I went to anyone else and I talked about my problems or anything, it became too much for people. They're just like, hey, you're a load of baggage, pretty much. You have too much weight on you, and I can't deal with that. So people kind of run away from all of my problems, and in the end I just stopped telling them. And you just kind of put on this mask of, hey, I'm okay, everything's fine, let's joke around and have fun. I just want to see you smile. I couldn't really give a shit about myself. I just want to see other people smile. So that in turn kind of internalized everything, and it's very difficult to learn to accept help when people actually genuinely want to give it, because there's been so many times where people have been like, oh yeah, I'll help you, but then like stab you in the back, or like just turn away and abandon you after saying that they'd help you. And because it happens so often, it's difficult to trust the people when they actually genuinely want to be there for you. It's hard, and it's not been easy. I'm glad that the people who are trying to help me kind of understand that, because I've gone through so many things, it is an issue, and I understand it's an issue. But I'm hopefully getting just that tiny bit better at it. It's just hard when everything in your head is saying no, they're going to turn around, abandon you, and leave you if you let them help, because it's happened so many times before. And when they don't, it kind of messes with you a lot. So it's interesting kind of trying to learn all of that. I'm basically a child again. I guess for me, I never really got any of the tools or anything that I needed for anything, because I was never given that, because I was always constantly pushed down for being different, pushed down because I wasn't supposed to be here, pushed down for physical differences and mental differences, pushed down and compared to my parents. And this is why I like online when I see people who say, don't compare the child to the parent, because it is so damaging to that child to compare them to their parents, because they're not their parents. Their parents may be guides and tools to help them grow, but they're not necessarily going to be exactly like their parents. They're their own individual person, and the only way they cannot be like their parents and not have the same views and opinions is if they get other views and opinions. But if you don't teach them that, and instead belittle them, you're ending up pushing them away from the other ideas that you may have had to teach them. Instead, kind of bring in those people with kindness and show them your view on things, and let them decide for themselves what they want to believe. I think that is a lot better than just comparing someone to their parents and just saying you're a lost cause, and then just kind of putting them down and belittling them for just existing. It is damaging, and it's tough to essentially relearn all the things that you never got shown or taught because nobody wanted to, and they pushed you away from that. It's up there. It's up there. I guess I'm just lucky that I'm willing to learn, I guess. I don't know, the way I view things is that I want to always be constantly learning. I'm never going to all of a sudden be stuck in a set of ways because I don't want that for myself. Because I've seen the results of being stuck in your own ways and not wanting to budge or move or learn any differently. I hope when I'm 80, I'm still learning things. I hope when I'm on my deathbed, I'm still learning things. I think the one thing that I'm going to learn that I won't be able to share on my deathbed is what really happens when you die. That's the only thing I can't share. But I would like to hope that I'm always constantly learning, and that when I'm older, instead of pushing an idea down someone's throat, I will instead give them a story and a reason why I think that way, and let them decide for themselves. Be like, this was my experience growing up, and I'm sure things have changed now, but this was my experience, and this is what I learned from it, and share those views and opinions. Because what I learned is when you act towards something in anger because you don't agree with it, not only does it worsen the situation, you're pushing the person away and you're making them unwilling to learn your views and opinions because they see it as something negative. Their first experience is negative, and they then go, well, I don't want to learn that anymore. So they don't. Because you've essentially just ruined it because you made a negative experience and a negative first impression, and they see somebody else like that, and it's frozen again, and they stop freezing. And they go, well, you're like this person where I had this experience, because that is how people view things. They view things from their first experience. And it's better to leave a good impression than a negative one. And anger is an emotion that helps no one, and you can be angry, but instead of living in that anger and constantly being in that anger, use that energy to work out a solution. Use that energy that you would be putting into your anger to have an outlet, to find a way to have a problem, solve the issue in a civil manner. Because it really doesn't make the situation better. It makes it worse for you, it makes it worse for them, it just makes it worse all around. It's one of those emotions that has the most negative impact on someone. So that's the way I kind of view it. So when I get angry or frustrated, I go, well, yes, it made me angry, it made me frustrated, but what can I do to resolve the situation? What could I say to resolve the situation? What can I do? Can I do anything? Is there a solution? Usually, yes. There is a solution. There is usually always a solution to a problem, except for special rare cases where the person is pretty much a brick wall no matter what, and then in which case it's probably better to just let it be. Some people will not learn regardless of you just trying to educate them and just trying to share an opinion, your opinion, and show them scientific facts. Some people aren't going to budge, and it's better to just save your energy at that point, honestly. So that's kind of what I do. Just don't get angry, just kind of use it for good and educate the person. So let's say somebody asks me a question, and usually people are just curious, and I try and answer the question, give them my opinions on it, kind of share why I a few things like that, and what scientific evidence I have to back that up, and yet it might only be a theory, to me, it's still important. It's what I do and believe, and if it's a nicer way to look upon things, maybe somebody else will go, well, that's a nicer way of viewing things rather than viewing it negatively and viewing it in a positive manner. Because even after all of this stuff happening to me, I am not angry at anyone. I don't hold grudges against anyone. I'm probably quicker to forgive anyone than anyone is to apologize, honestly. Because I can forgive pretty easily. I believe a lot of people will use the saying, forgive and forget. I kind of go a bit overboard with the forgive and forget thing. Because people be like, I'm so sorry I treated you that way, and I'd be like, I don't really care. Like, I've already forgiven you. My heart's already forgiven you. I have no room in my heart to be angry at someone. I have no room in my heart to hold a grudge. I have no room in my heart to hold those negative emotions because it just makes you sick. It honestly is just bad for your health. It makes you sick, and it's better to forgive that person and find a solution to move forward. For me personally, not everyone is going to be like this, I know this, and it's easier said than it is done. I'm just kind of one of those people who, yeah, I'll be angry for a little bit and I'll be upset. Be like, why did you do this? But I will forgive, and I will forget a lot quicker than anyone is to apologize. It happens all the time. Just like, I'm so sorry, I've already forgiven you. You didn't have to apologize, but I'm glad that you apologized because it means that you saw there was a problem, you acknowledged it, and you apologized. And that just makes it better, in my opinion. Because not a lot of people will apologize for their actions. Not a lot of people want to be held accountable for what they've done. Not a lot of people want to take responsibility for the things that they've done. But it's better to hold up your hand and go, well, I did this really bad thing, but I'm hoping to fix it so I don't in the future. I'm hoping to rectify it so it never happens again. Because people tend to have this thing where history repeats itself. And why does it repeat itself? Because nobody holds themselves accountable and nobody wants to fix themselves. But if we hold ourselves accountable for our actions, then that's the first step to fixing the problem and moving forward. In my opinion. Somebody else may not agree with me, but that's just kind of how I view things and what I've learned kind of going forward with everything. I'm still debating if I want to talk about the things that I'm currently going through, because it's, oh boy, or whether I just want to be philosophical and just talk about what I believe in and stuff that happened to me in the past and why I view things this way. I don't know. I just know, like, ever since I was little and all of that, there's always been an air around everyone else where they've never really wanted me around because I was a burden. I wasn't supposed to be born, and they always made that apparent to me. They always told me, you know, you weren't supposed to be born, you're a mistake, made me feel like a burden, made me feel worthless. There are points in my life where I've been told that I'm an absolute disgrace to the family, that I'm just a disgrace in general, that I am below everything, being made out to be a demon. All that stuff has happened, and I've been put down pretty bad. But now, thinking about it, I think people want a way to lash out at someone. People want a way to put you down when they see you above them. People want everyone else when they're putting you down. When the people who are putting you down, it's not everyone, but people who genuinely put people down usually have problems of their own, and they want other people to be brought down to their same position so that they can feel better about themselves, so they don't feel so alone. But the way that they're responding to their feelings and their emotions is wrong to put other people down, and it shouldn't excuse their actions either. They should be held accountable for what they've done and should be able to put their hand up for it and make the change to be better. Not everyone can do that. Not everyone is able to be like, hey, I was a horrible person in the past, but I'm making a change to be better. Because honestly, I've been pretty bad in the past myself. And I'm not gonna lie, like, I used to be a school bully because everyone was just so horrible and things were horrible where I was. And so I bullied people. But I just kind of snapped out of it one day. And I went and I apologized to all the people that I bullied and made the change to better myself. And I'm like, even though I kind of snapped and realized what I was doing was bad, and I was apologizing and making better of myself, I also put another thing upon myself to make myself feel worse about myself. And that was that anything that bad that ever happened to me, I would excuse that as, I deserved it. That was my line. I deserved it. And that was the line that I always said to myself whenever something extremely horrible happened because of what I did was, I deserved it. I wasn't supposed to be here. I deserved it. I did these really bad things. I deserved it. So that's not really a healthy way either. Like, accepting it is healthy and apologizing is healthy, but blaming yourself for everything that happens, even if it wasn't your fault and there was nothing you could really do about it, saying that I deserved it, isn't really healthy. So I've had to break myself out of that as well, because for a long time I believed that I deserved all those death threats. For a long time I believed I deserved to be put down and called down and be told I'm worthless and everything. For a long time I believed that I didn't deserve to be here. I believed that I didn't deserve to breathe the air that everyone was breathing. And I thought the reason that I was here was to rectify my mistakes, and that was the only reason that I was here. Which is a pretty horrible way of thinking about things, but that is just honestly how I viewed things. I didn't deserve to be here. I didn't feel myself as worthwhile or anything because I've been put down and been told I'm worthless, you're disgusting, you're a disgrace, you're a monster, you're a demon. I've been called these things. So I viewed myself as that. I viewed myself as below dirt. So it was pretty bad. So I'm kind of slowly surfacing out of that dirt. It's like a really tiny weed or a really tiny flower. I can't decide. I can't decide because a weed is very tenacious and always comes back, and I feel like that I'm more like that personality-wise because I have the determination and tenacity of a weed that you just cannot get rid of. You can try and get rid of me, it's not gonna happen. I'm just gonna keep sprouting back, and I'm gonna be like, hey, remember how you tried to get rid of me? I'm back. But at the same time, weeds aren't necessarily good or viewed as good, but maybe in a way they are beneficial to something. But I am very determined, and I have a strong willpower, and I guess you would call it tenacity or tenacious, because, oh man, do I just not want to quit. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing at this point, but I've got that going for me. I'm determined AF. Like, very determined. If I want something, you can bet that I will get it. I will, like, work really hard to get it. The only points where I've wanted something and I've never gotten it is because along the way I've kind of, like, realized and gone, I'm not sure if I really want that and if that's for me, and then kind of changed my mind. That's the only point where I would actually not necessarily give up on something. I just go, I don't know if this is actually what I want, and I don't know if going in this direction is healthy for me. So to benefit myself health-wise, it's probably better if I take a break and just kind of step back and have a look at the picture, and if I start to get better, that probably wasn't for me. That's the thing. I take a while to do things, but that's because I like to kind of step out of the moment for a little bit and kind of look at the whole entire picture, and then start to kind of break down the picture and go, what are the benefits of this and what are the negatives from this? Am I going to benefit as a whole if I continue to do this? Or is it better if I just leave and not continue that path and find a different one? So I'm kind of in that road of just kind of stepping back from things at the moment and kind of deciding what is necessarily better for myself, and I'm kind of taking the steps in order to slowly improve that. May not be happening as quickly as I want it to, but I can't rush things. I can't rush things. I guess I'll go into some of the things that's happening now, but maybe in less detail. So currently it is just a little bit difficult for me, and the only reason that it is difficult is because I'm unable to currently work at the moment, and it's not because I'm sick, it's not because of mental health reasons, because I still work even if I'm severely depressed. I don't like sitting down and doing nothing, because then I end up viewing myself as worthless and going back into that hole that I just don't want to go back into viewing myself as. So I go and do things. Oh boy, do I do things, because if I stop doing things for like 1 second, I end up thinking I'm not doing enough. I could be doing so much more. I'm not doing enough, I've got to keep doing stuff. And that is kind of unhealthy. But when I'm not doing stuff, I'm doing something. Like, even if I'm watching videos and kind of relaxing, I'm doing something while I'm doing that. Just so I'm being productive, because I hate wasting time. I hate not doing things now and then regretting it later. And you don't necessarily have to do everything. And even if you don't do anything, you shouldn't regret not doing it. But I just like to do it. I just need to do it. For my own sanity, I just need to do it. Because, yeah, it's for my sanity. I'm pretty sure my dad is the same, because he had 3 jobs and he was writing a book. All while having 3 jobs and writing a book, and has a family that he raises. I got it from somewhere. You know, I got it from somewhere. And I know for certain that I didn't get it from here. I most likely got it from my dad, because I really have to do something. I have to be doing something creative because my mind doesn't stop. And I've heard a lot of other YouTubers say the same thing. Even when they're trying to sleep, their mind doesn't stop. Even when I'm trying to sleep, my mind doesn't stop. There's always something that I'm thinking of. I could be thinking of a poem or music lyrics, and it could be 1:30, 2:30 in the morning, or even earlier or later, and I've got to write that down. I have so many notes just thrown around everywhere, because if I don't write it down, I will not sleep until it is, and I can rest knowing that I put it down so I can remember it later. Because if I don't put it down and I don't remember it, I regret it. So I have to write it down so I can remember it. I have to. So my mind doesn't stop. I have to be constantly doing something. There's always ideas going into my head. I could be doing something musically creative and I hear a sound, and then I make a separate copy of that so I can make a separate song from that one sound. Like, this is just me. It's me, but it's nice to know that there are other people where their head is just constantly going, and it's constantly thinking of things. It's just constant all the time. It doesn't rest. It does not rest. It does not want to rest. I can sleep. I promise you, I can sleep like a baby. But just when I have an idea, I can't. I really can't. And if I'm like thinking of something, I'll be thinking of the whole entire thing, and it will just go. Like, in that one moment, I just thought of the whole entire thing from start to finish, and I've got to quickly write down all those bits and pieces before I forget it. Because once I get from the start to the finish, it's gone. So, it's an always, it's an always. Oh boy. But, yeah. I've like lost track because I keep talking about these things. But as I was saying, I'm currently not working, not because of physical reasons, not because of mental health reasons. It's for personal reasons to do within that whole entire thing, and I'd love to talk about it, but it's probably not really professional to talk about it, especially in such a public manner as well, and especially knowing that there are people from that specific work that do watch my YouTube videos. So there's just a lot of personal things going on in which I can't really work, and I would love to go back to work because it is currently killing me that I cannot work, because I need that money. I relied on that money and that income while I was working to pay my bills. I was relying on that income to pay my rent. I was relying on that income to pay my food. I don't have that anymore. I only have enough money to pay my bills. I don't have enough money to pay my rent, and I definitely don't have enough money to pay my food. So, because I'm going through all these hormones and stuff, and I'm going through a second puberty, I'm eating so much more, and I'm a lot more hungrier, and for the past week since all this happened, I've been getting hunger pains because I haven't had enough food to eat, and I can't just be eating everything that's in the fridge, the freezer, and the cabinet, because that's also for other people. I have my set foods that are in there that I'm allowed to eat and allowed to touch. I only touch those for myself. I make sure to leave things for everyone else because it's only fair to leave that for everyone else. So I don't really have that money, and I've been trying to get extra work from my old job that I'm still currently working at because I only get a day a week. But it's been tough because everyone else is kind of struggling for shifts there as well. So I've been trying to get extra work just so I can get that extra income, but I haven't got that. And I haven't gotten the call back from work to say that it is okay to come back to work so that I can pay for everything. And then I'm going on this holiday thing up to New South Wales to see my whole family, and the whole family is going to be there, so I have to be there. I'd be a horrible person if I didn't go, honestly, because of the circumstances that are personal. Again, I cannot share it, but the circumstances do suck. But at the same time, it will be fun to see everyone. It'll be nice to see everyone. It'll be good. It'll be nice to catch up with everyone that I haven't seen in a million years, or however long it's been. I think it's been like 4 or 5-ish years that I've seen everyone. 3. It's up there in the terms of I haven't seen anyone for a while, and I haven't seen anyone like this either up there, so be interesting what they're all saying and whatnot. So it's been tough, and it's been tough allowing myself to get outside help as well, because like I said, I don't normally allow myself to get help, but I have been struggling, and I don't know if I can go to Centrelink to get help because I'm still technically listed and registered with a job. I just haven't been able to work for a while. So I don't know if that counts as me being allowed to do anything, because I technically still have a job, just not enough to pay to live at all. And I am worried that once I come back from my holiday that I won't ever be called back in. I have to wait for the phone call to be called back in. And if that doesn't happen, I unfortunately have to look for another job very, very quickly, because it's getting a little bit dangerous for the amount of little income that I'm getting. So there's been that I've been struggling with. I've been told that I've been handling this whole entire situation really well, and that a lot of other people would have kind of grumbled at everything that's happening now, and they're proud of me for handling it so well. Because, oh boy, there's a lot. Oh boy. Like, when you look at it, it's a lot. Jeez. There's a lot. And obviously I can't divulge everything. I want to be as transparent as possible. At the same time, there are some things that are not really okay to yet, and things that I just can't. It's been there. And I haven't talked about like bad stuff in my past either. I just kind of more went on a philosophical rant than anything else on beliefs and stuff. Like, yeah, being put down and called worthless is sucks, and it happens every day, and it still happens. It's like a constant thing every day, all the time. So it's hard to fight that, fight yourself, and stay standing. I've probably rambled on for way too long. When I think it's okay to talk about other things, I'll probably talk about it. There's a lot of stuff that I didn't talk about, that I missed, that I'll probably eventually talk about. It's always why I'm having the trigger warning, in case I do talk about that. But yeah, thank you for listening to Time to Talk. This is my therapy session, and this is my time to be transparent with you, and you learn a few things about me. yeah, and what I believe in, and maybe you like me as a person, maybe you won't. Who knows? But thank you for at least taking all this long time, jeez, to listen um, and hear my opinion on things and things that have happened. Okay, well, I better go before it gets way too long and I can't upload it. Alright. I'll hopefully see you all in a wingspan and in my next therapy session. Hey! Okay, bye.